you're not alone. If you have anxious thoughts, feelings, it's okay to feel that way. And often our body will try to communicate with us through the expression of these emotions. And what's so important is to actually allow them to be felt and to allow them to be expressed, because what we're seeing in the world is that a lot of the times when we suppress these emotions, we can actually start to see physical illness arise. So it's really important to just like stand strong in knowing that what you feel is completely valid. And if anybody tries to invalidate those feelings, then those people are not for you, because I think that's a big issue in general in our societies, like seeing kind of like minimizing people's feelings. And I've definitely had relationships in the past where I felt like my emotions, I wasn't safe to express them. And being in such a different part of my life now, I want to be an advocate for that and like letting you know that it's okay for you to express those. So first and foremost, that's what I wanted to say. And anxiety itself can really show up in a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be this super, like fantastical show or like, whatever it might be. Often it can be like a really low level anxiety. I remember growing up, I had social anxiety, and it was really just nerve-wracking for me to talk to people, to be perceived by others. And I think part of why I developed that was also the way kind of I was raised. I was kind of, often I didn't have to like speak up for myself. It was kind of like, let's say like my parents like would more so do that for me. And so I think I was slower in developing that like sense of agency and confidence in talking and like having like a feeling of authority. So what really helped me was just like I ended up outgrowing my social anxiety, because I ended up just putting myself in uncomfortable positions where I had to speak up. Definitely got in trouble like a few times because of the fact that I wasn't comfortable speaking up and just like really taking charge. And so that's really when I was able to like change my behavior for good. It was realizing that, okay, in order to succeed in this world, in order to stand out and do well and be respected by others, I need to grow past this social anxiety and no longer identify with it. And like I said, anxiety shows up in different ways for different people. I've had times where it was a lot. It was really heavy and it was crippling. I've also had times where it was just kind of like this like quiet hum, this little just like feeling. Also, if you've ever like gone out drinking and then the next day you felt a little bit of anxiety, typically happens like once you've metabolized all the alcohol, you have a lot of that enzyme that metabolized it causing these side effects, a lot of those being like nausea and just like sadness, anxiety, that kind of stuff. So it'll be a hangover. But that's like a type of anxiety you can feel as well. And that's also why I'm constantly in kind of this battle as well with drinking and just not really sure what my relationship with alcohol will be in the future, because I think it brings up emotions that I don't like. It just kind of brings things up for me, makes me feel like a certain way that I don't like. I don't enjoy it. So that's kind of a side note, but let me know if you've ever had this feeling of like anxiousness, just like these negative like emotion, like not to label the emotions, but more so just unpleasant feelings after like drinking or something like that, and how that's shown up for you, how that felt in your body. But yeah, anxiety sucks. It sucks. It really does. And the truth is, it is lying to us, like most of the time, because I think that, so I actually did a workshop last year with my friend in Montreal. Sorry, there's like so many little fruit flies. I don't know how they got in here, but if you see those buzzing around, just ignore them. But basically, last year I did a workshop in Montreal with my friend. We talked about emotions, how they show up in the body, the message that they're trying to send, and also how to take control over them rather than be controlled by them. And one of the things that we had mentioned was that, you know, these strong emotions that we feel, and like this fight or flight reaction that we can have, it's totally valid and helpful in certain situations. Sorry. But when you're not actually in physical danger or in danger, that's when like those emotions like can get the best of you and then actually just like really interfere with your experience of life, your quality of life. So also chronologically, how I can explain this is like you can also carry an experience with you, have a certain memory that you've attached an emotion to, and then feel that emotion when a similar event to that memory occurs in your life. So let's say when you were a kid, you were on a swing set and you fell off the swing set and you felt like fear and like, yeah, just like fear. You can obviously relive, like you can later in your life have just this fear of swing sets and just think like they're dangerous and I can't, and you just want to stay away from them. So that's because that event caused you to attach that emotion of fear to that specific memory. But it's not actually entirely rational, because obviously later on in your life you could go on a swing set and be safer with it and like not go too quickly and be completely fine, right? So it can be irrational. These feelings of anxiety, fear, whatever it might be, it can totally be irrational, and we can take charge over those things and recognize those things. And one thing I really recommend is alchemy. Basically just kind of transforming certain emotions and energy, transmuting energy, transforming a certain emotion so that it actually serves you rather than getting in your way of like living a full, whole life, complete life. So, for example, a few months ago, I did a meditation where I pictured this moment when I was a kid, and I had an experience where I felt as though someone I really cared about felt really disappointed in me. And I just remember that memory being so potent and so strong, and it just left this kind of imprint in my mind of like, I am disappointing people. And it was also a moment where I had gotten in trouble for something at school, and so ever since I've also kind of had this issue with authority, and like getting in trouble was extremely uncomfortable. It kind of made me feel like the world was crashing down. So I had to deal with a lot of this baggage that I was carrying from this one single event where it was so emotionally draining and scary for me, and I was just completely in a fight or flight state. So I sat down and I did a meditation and I alchemized this. So what I did was I pictured the scenario, eyes closed, and I relived it. And this was really hard, but I relived it. And instead, so what I did was, the first time that I pictured it as it was. So with all of those feelings that I talked about, disappointment, whatever, sadness probably, and then I did the same thing. I visualized it again, but this time I visualized it as if it had happened differently. So as if like actually my loved ones were super proud of me and happy for me, like essentially the opposite of like disappointment, like satisfaction. I felt the opposite emotion, and this is the process of transmuting energy, because energy and emotions are energy in motion. And so you can use the law of polarity, which is a law in metaphysics that states that everything has its pair of opposites. So if you use the law of polarity, then essentially every emotion has its opposite. So like happiness, sadness, and they are the same thing. They are the same energy. They're just vibrating at a different rate. And so if you can choose the polar opposite, like if you're thinking like, for example, negative, positive, in that sense, the polar opposite, you can transmute that energy so that you don't interpret it in that same way, in that original way. And instead you interpret it in a way that advances you in life, that benefits you. So I did that. I pictured it positively. I pictured it in a way that actually benefits me. And this exercise can be done, like, I would do it once a day only because it can get emotional. I definitely got emotional during it. And you also just want to like practice this with repetition to really reinforce it. So do this a few days in a row until I would say you feel as though the work has been done, like it's complete. You feel that shift. For me, it took like 2 or 3 days, I think, to really kick in. And I will say, I did this like months ago. I definitely could do it again, and I think it would still benefit me to kind of like do that again and like have a refresher. Because if there's one thing that I've learned about meditation, alchemy, mindfulness, it's that it's not about doing it just once and doing it perfectly and then moving on with your life. And then there's no such thing as like just being healed. Although I do go back and forth with that. I think that as life goes on, we're going to be triggered. We are going to encounter uncomfortable experiences because life is uncomfortable sometimes. Life is difficult sometimes. And the only thing we can do is practice how to live those things, those events, with more grace and with more courage and just like love for ourselves, because life is uncomfortable and it's very, very strange. So yeah, I think it's important to check in with yourself. It's important to make your mental health a priority. You are the only one who's able to do that, to prioritize yourself, to set those boundaries with people around you. Not everyone will understand what you're going through, but that's okay. But there will be people out there who you can talk to, who will support you. And don't be afraid to reach out if you do need help, if you need community. Community is so important. We used to live in tribes. We are a species that needs community and connection. And so I hope this can be a place where you feel that you have that, because you always do, no matter what is going on in the world. I'm sorry, this fly is driving me insane. It's like been flying the whole video, but you know, maybe it's a spirit guide. So, and I don't want to kill it because I don't know. I don't know what karma comes with that. So anyways, yeah, I lost my train of thought, but you get the picture. Like, this is a safe place for you. And I would love to hear your thoughts actually about anxiety in the comments. What's your experience been with anxiety? Is this something you've ever struggled with? Are you still struggling with it today? And what are ways that you have managed it? If so, if you have felt this. I mean, I'm sure we've all felt anxiety, and if we say we haven't, then I think we're lying. But yeah, I'd love to know, because when I was younger, I definitely felt a little bit alone with the whole social anxiety thing. Like, I definitely think, like, when I would share that with some people, they just didn't understand. And yeah, so I just want this to be a safe place for you to express yourself and not feel any judgment or anything. So, because we don't do that here. This is a loving place no matter what. So I love you so, so much. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more self-mastery content and spirituality. And have a beautiful day or night wherever you are. I'll see you next time.